Shout out to Dina 10. Hold on, let me sure I get her name right. Yeah, Dina 10 on Twitter, who sent me this story, and this is more of an update. So you see the four terrorists lined up right here, who were responsible with the murder of George Floyd. Of course, one of them was the one who actually did it, but birds of a feather flock together. So this is a most interesting update. Of course, the last update we received about any of them or one of them was Derek Chauvin being able to be released from prison, with one of the charges being dropped. I think it was a third degree manslaughter or the third degree homicide. What it was something in the third degree, and then they were able to allow him to be in the next state over for his quote unquote safety. Well, that was a short lived little victory for him, because now it has come out that the judge has rejected moving the trial of all four of the terrorists from the county in which it happened in to another county. So they will be staying right there when the trial begins and ends. Let me give this article a read through. A judge on Thursday rejected defense request to move the trial of four Minneapolis terrorists charged in George Floyd's death, and also ordered that all four will be tried together instead of separately. I'm glad that's happening too. Why have separate trials? They were all there. Get them all together. But we know who's going to get the heaviest charge, and that's the one on the far left. Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill ruled after defense attorneys had argued that pretrial publicity had made it impossible for the four men to get a fair trial in Minneapolis. They also cited a September 11th hearing in which the men and their attorneys were confronted by angry protesters outside the courthouse, saying it showed that holding the proceeding in the same area where Floyd died would be unsafe for participants. As if moving it to another place was going to do it any better. Defense lawyers had argued that witnesses could be intimidated and jurors could be affected by chants from a crowd outside. Again, as if moving it elsewhere was going to make any difference. See, here's the thing. This was a event that was seen around the world. There's really nowhere they can go where no one has heard of this story. So they could move this thing to the moon if they wanted to. It wouldn't make a difference. But Cahill said he was unpersuaded at the moment that moving the trial would improve security, and that he believes the jury can be protected from outside influences. No corner of the state of Minnesota has been shielded from pretrial publicity regarding the death of George Floyd. Because of that pervasive media coverage, a change of venue is unlikely to cure the taint of potential prejudicial pretrial publicity, he wrote. Cahill said he was willing to revisit the issue later if circumstances warrant. Moving the trial away from Minneapolis to a less diverse area of the state also likely would affect the makeup of the jury. Exactly. And that's also what they're banking on. See, they figure also if they move the trial to another place and less diverse, meaning more white, that it would be more people that's more lenient toward them. But they'll be surprised how many Caucasian people don't agree with what they did. In a separate order, however, he said the names of the jurors will be kept confidential. The judge also ruled in another order that the trial can be televised and streamed live from the courtroom. Oh, you already know people are going to be on that. Defense attorneys had also argued that the men should face separate trials as each officer tried to diminish their own role in Floyd's arrest by pointing fingers at the other. But Cahill rejected that too, saying the complications of separate trials were too great and that trying the officers together would ensure that the jury understands all of the evidence and the complete picture of Floyd's death. And it would allow this community, the state, and the nation to absorb the verdicts up for the four defendants at once. He concluded. Floyd, a black man in handcuffs, died May 25th after Derek Chauvin, who was white, pressed his knee against Floyd's neck as he said he couldn't breathe. Floyd's death sparked protests in Minneapolis and beyond and led to a nationwide reckoning on race. All four officers were fired. They are scheduled to stand trial in March. Chauvin is charged with unintentional second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. The three other former officers, Thomas Lane, J. King, and Tu Thao, are charged with aiding and abetting both counts. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, whose office is prosecuting the case, said in a statement that the rulings represent another significant step forward in the pursuit of justice for Floyd and the community. The murder of George Floyd occurred in Minneapolis and it is right that the defendant should be tried in Minneapolis, Ellison said. It is also true that they acted in concert with each other and the evidence against them is similar, so it is right to try them all in one trial. So That's actually fairly good news that they are going to keep this trial in the same county in which it happened in, and that it's going to be one trial and not 4 separate trials. Who's really like going to be doing 4 separate trials? That means that thing could last for over a year. And then they might, if they was to do 4 separate trials, they would do the 3 to the right first, and then they would linger with Derek Chauvin. No, do them all at one time. They were all there. It's just that we know when it comes to Derek Chauvin's part, that's the part that's probably going to drag out the most, because his charge right there, that's the head that everybody is going for. That's the headshot right there. That's the cherry on top, so to speak. But that is fairly good to know. And also Derek Chauvin, he's not out of the woods yet, because I'm gonna be confident with this. When he is found guilty of the crime in which he committed, he's also going to have to face charges, another trial, and alongside his wife or his estranged wife for being some fraudsters. So that's going to be more years coming his way. I bet him looking back on that day, he wishes that fraud was the only thing he had to deal with and not murder or homicide. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this update down in the comments.